welcome to another edition of Did You Know Doctor Who, or what you may or may not know about Doctor Who. This time we're going to have a look at our second of the Dalek Civil War trilogy, the one where the Civil War really does kick up a gear, the one where we first see our Imperial Daleks and our Renegades as represented by their colour scheme, and is one that is a 6th Doctor story, and one that a lot of people really like, a good 6th Doctor story. Revelation of the Daleks. I hope you enjoy. This story was created as a result of Eric Starrett, who was unhappy with Resurrection of the Daleks, believing this to be the more perfected script. This story is based on the book The Loved One. Eric Starrett thought up the idea of the blue morning suit for the Necros in order to cover up Colin Baker's costume, which he considered inappropriate for a drama series. Interestingly, Colin Baker always wanted to wear a blue suit and was forced by production to wear the colour patchwork coat. This story essentially allowed him to have his wish, sort of. Whilst this is the second of the Dalek Civil War trilogy, this is the first to introduce the Imperials and the Renegades. Due to the low ratings and generally poor reception of Doctor Who at the time, this story was almost the last ever Doctor Who, as the show went on a hiatus after this. Whilst Remembrance of the Daleks is noted for being the first to feature a Dalek flying, this story is the first and only time Davros flies, meaning technically this is the first time Daleks fly. The Glass Dalek was thought of as far back as 1963. In fact, Terry Nation always intended to feature a Glass Dalek from the very beginning, but the budget always got in the way. The story following from this one was meant to be the Nightmare Fair, which would have featured the return of the Celestial Toymaker. However, it was cancelled as the show went on hiatus. This was the last Doctor Who story to use the practice of shooting interior scenes on videotape and location scenes on film, something that had been in place since the Reign of Terror. This is the final story to feature the classic Peter Howell theme used during the 80s. Gregory references Star Trek's Dr. McCoy by saying, "I'm a doctor, not a magician." The ending originally had the Doctor saying to Perry, "Blackpool," instead of a freeze frame. This original cut no longer exists. The idea of Davros flying was thought of by Terry Molloy, after slipping the idea in when talking to Graham Harper. Colin Baker ad-libbed the line, "No arm in Tryon," when Davros' arm is blown off. Planned shots of the Daleks being blown into the sky had to be abandoned because they couldn't get the equipment to the location. This is Eric Sauer's favourite story he wrote, ironic considering he hated the Daleks. Terry Molloy was ill with flu when filming. The DJ came about when Eric Sauer was driving home from a dinner and was listening to a boring DJ on the radio. It led him wondering how people in cryogenic suspension kept up to date with current events. Interestingly, quite a few things in this story influenced the Stolen Earth/Journey's End, mostly with Davros. Davros having a metal hand for one thing, and his electrical beam coming from his fingers. This is the first time since Death to the Daleks that there are a new look for the Daleks that isn't a grey or black, but a different colour, or colours entirely. Ironically, the Imperial Necro Daleks that appear would later be reused for the Renegade Daleks in Remembrance of the Daleks. Believe it or not, this would not be the last time a glass or see-through Dalek appears, as in the Doctor Who comics, a see-through Psyche Dalek appears. If it wasn't obvious enough, the planet Necro is named after the Greek word of corpse. This is the first time since Planet of the Daleks that completely new Dalek models and casts were made. And that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed. Revelation of the Daleks is certainly one of the best 6th Doctor stories, even though I do have a soft spot for the 2 Doctors and Vengeance on Varos, and even the Trial of the Time Lords series, I should say, isn't too bad. But Revelation of the Daleks certainly takes the cake for being the best. I mean, it is a Dalek story for one thing, and I am a huge Dalek fan, and it does introduce the Imperial Daleks, which are just a beautiful looking design, although I do think that their later design in Remembrance of the Daleks is certainly much better. However, saying that, this story does have a lot of interesting ideas. The idea of Davros hiding out and creating a new breed of Dalek which aren't even pure, if that makes sense, and are impure, just made up of using corpses and human beings and what have you. It's an interesting concept which has been reused later on with the Emperor Dalek in Parting of the Ways. But this story is a genuinely interesting and fun story, and it does introduce the Civil War on a much more action-packed scale. Whereas the first story, which was Resurrection of the Daleks, sort of introduced the Civil War, but didn't really go that far, if that makes sense. Revelation Daleks shows the battlegrounds and shows how desperate Davros is getting. Overall, this is a fantastic story and a genuinely good Sixth Doctor story, and it's strange to think that this would have been the last Doctor Who story because of the low scale, the low ratings and the low critical reception it was getting. That is a very interesting concept to think about. This would have been the last Doctor Who, if you would have thought about that. Overall, a fantastic story, and I hope to see you again next time for the final of the Dalek Civil War trilogy. I hope you enjoyed.